Hi, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com. On May 23rd, I shared some fun alternate projects that I created with the contents of the May 2022 Celebrating in Color Paper Pumpkin Kit from Stampin' Up! And today, I'd like to share with you a couple more. A half easel card and a miniature 2468 box. I'll be using a few extra supplies as I share. You can find these items listed below and linked to my online store. You can also find links below for more information regarding paper pumpkin kits, for starting your subscription, for my blog post linked to today's projects, and for my blog post from May 23rd showing the other projects I made. If you don't have this May kit, or if you've used it all up by now, I'm sure you'll be able to adapt what you see here to products you do have. Let's get started. This May kit is called Celebrating in Color because it is celebrating the new Stampin' Up! Colors, the 2022 through 24 in colors. This particular color is our Starry Sky, our very beautiful deep blue color. And so I've pulled a piece of our Starry Sky cardstock from my stash, and we're going to cut it in half. So it's 11 inches this way. We're slicing at 5.5 inches. And then it's 8.5 inches this way, so we're going to score at 4.25 inches. And if you can see here, we've also got a split down the middle. So what we need to do now is rotate it this way. Half of 5.5 inches is 2.75 inches. So now we're going to use our cutting blade and we're going to cut right up to that score line. And we're going to rotate it again, and we want to score halfway between this score line and here. So half of 4.25 is 2.125 inches. So we're going to take our scoring blade now and score this way. So here is the base of our card. We're going to fold it. We're going to grab our bone folder and we're going to crease. We're going to open this up and we're going to crease. And you can see that we've got the fold for our card. So this piece is going to set down all the way. It's actually going to get stuck down. And this piece is going to be the part that opens. Now you can see on the inside we also have a white layer here. I pulled that from the kit, from one of the card bases. So I took one of these card bases from the kit because that white matches the white on the cards a little bit better. And I cut it down. You can see I cut it in half, and then I cut it in half again, and I have this piece left over, which is a scrap. It's a scrap from another card that I was creating. And I pulled in my ruler so that you can see this space here again is 2.75 inches by 4.25 inches. So we're going to go 1/8 inch less. We're going to go to 4.125, and we're going to go to 2.5/8. And we're going to do that for our white piece and for this layer over here. So let's bring our trimmer back in. You can see we're going to cut from this side here. So we're going to bring it in to 2.5/8 inches. And if you're worried about the curvature line here, we can actually cut it upside down. That would probably be best. So we're going to slice there. And now this piece obviously is 2.5/8 inches, and the distance this way is just under the 4.125, so it is going to fit in that spot. Let's cut this one as well. So 2.5/8, I think that's actually what it is, by 4.125. And now we have those layers. This piece here is obviously 2.5/8 inches across. And you'll notice, so let's go ahead and cut that. And I'm going to cut off this side. Well, let me look here. I think I actually cut off, yeah, I did. I cut off this side here to give it a little bit of balance. So 2.5/8 inches cuts 1/4 inch off this side here. And then what I did is when I cut these two pieces here, I wanted it to line up along the bottom and along the top, so I actually removed 1/8 inch gap in here. So this piece is cut 2 inches from the top, and then we slice off 1/8 inch. That way the design will flow. We're going to save that piece. It's super small, but we're actually going to use that on the box. So set that aside and don't throw it away. All right, we have those pieces. We also have a pocket piece for the inside, but we don't use the whole thing. We actually slice it right where this, this little indent is. So we're going to take and lay it in here so that that indent lines up with the groove. And we're going to cut it right there. This will become our pocket for the inside, and we wanted a straight pocket because we want our easel card to be able to sit against it when it's open. So there's our pocket, and this piece we're actually going to use too for that box. The only other piece that we need for the card besides these fun embellishments is this one here, and we're going to stamp on that right now. We're also going to stamp on the inside white part. I've mounted the stamp from the paper pumpkin kit that says "To Celebrate Your Day." I've mounted it diagonally. That way I'm not looking at the edges of my block when I'm trying to place it. And I'm only going to ink up the words "To Celebrate." And I'm going to, oh, this is something you'll probably want to do too, is lay your gift card in that white space to imagine where it's going to sit so that it's nice and even. And then you can pull this away and stamp right below it. There's our words "To Celebrate." And I'm going to clean this stamp off and we're going to ink up just "Your Day." Before I do that though, let's go ahead and ink up the "Just For," and we're going to stamp that right above the word "You." This basic gray ink pad is something that you can purchase from Stampin' Up, but if you got this kit, you already have a miniature basic gray ink pad, so you wouldn't necessarily need to get that. So off camera, when I cleaned my stamp, I noticed that I had stamped crooked. So I re-stamped. I got another piece actually because I stamped on the back side and it was crooked. So I had to throw it away and cut a new one. All right, so now we'll go ahead and stamp this below. Hopefully we get it straight. You know, when you're doing a video, you kind of have to, yeah, it's angled. Just slightly. You have to actually go at an angle to stamp, unless you wanted my head right underneath the camera, which you don't want, I'm sure. So there we have our finished piece there. We're going to add that to the inside. Let's go ahead and seal this shut with our Stampin' Seal adhesive. And I closed both sides together at the same time because I did not want to have an accidental gap in here. Sometimes if you fold these separately, you might accidentally fold one more off to one side than the other. Let's put seal along the back side of this. And I'm going to go ahead and add these layers too. So I love this tape. This is called Tear and Tape adhesive, and you received a roll of this if you received this paper pumpkin kit. And we're going to just go ahead and add it to the sides of the pocket. And I'm pressing down with the bone folder to help burnish it, help press it into the layer. And then we'll use our Take Your Pick tool and we'll peel off the backing. So I stuck a piece here as well because we're going to take our circular piece and we're going to center that and lay that right in this spot. And because it's only added with a small amount of adhesive, you want to use a really strong adhesive. So that's why I chose the Tear and Tape. Okay, so we're almost set. We just have to add our pocket, and then we can add our embellishments and be done with this card. This will be a fun card to give during this graduation season. Okay, so I've got the backings off of all of these. Now, if there's a little adhesive that kind of goes off the edge, you can just fold it back over onto itself. Then you're going to take your gift card. This is a used up gift card, by the way. It has nothing left on it, but it matched the the card colors so well that I had to use it. So now we'll add that in here, like so. And if you have it towards the bottom a bit, I told you to center your gift card, but you probably want to have it as low as possible so that this doesn't have to sit too high up. It can kind of lean against it like that. So there's that. Go ahead and pull that out and then press down on your pocket flaps from the top so that you can really make sure that they're in there. And I added the gift card, I added the pocket while the gift card was in there because I wanted to make sure that I allowed for that room for the gift card to be slid in. If you add it without doing that, it could be so spread out and flat that you wouldn't have room for it. So we're almost done. We just have some embellishments left, and we're going to be using the brushed metallic adhesive back dots for this. Using the other end of our Take Your Pick tool, the gummy end, we'll add a couple small ones up here. So our cards are done. Yay! Very fun. So there is the half easel card with a gift card holder even. Now we're going to work on the box. For the box, we're going to need to have some more of that Starry Sky paper. We're also going to bring in some of the Distressed Gold Specialty paper. Here's the leftover from that pocket and then the leftover from that beautiful layer. We're going to use those as well. So let's go ahead and cut this down. We're going to cut this to 4.5 inches in this direction. And then we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And then we're going to also score at 2 inches from the other side. So what we've got here is 2 inches, 2 inches, and 1/2 inch. Now we're going to turn it in this direction. And we're going to score again. Let's go ahead and turn it this way first, and we'll just put our score. It actually doesn't matter. You could score the 1/2 inch on either end. So I've got a 1/2 inch score on this end. And now I'm going to score, actually let's just go this way now. 2, 4, 6, and then 8 is where we just finished scoring. So we're going to score at 2 inches. Then we're going to bring it to 4. Then we're going to go to 6. And this last score mark it ended up at 8. So that's the 2, 4, 6, 8. For the 2, 4, 6, 8 box, that's where the score lines come in. Now what we need to do is make some more creases. We're going to put a divider mark though between this crease here and this crease. And then we're also going to put a halfway mark between these two creases. So in order to do that, we know that this is a 1/2 inch and halfway between two is 1 inch. So that would make this a 1.5 inch little mark here. And then we're going to also put a mark halfway between these two score lines. So that would come out to be at the 5.5 inch mark, like that. Then we'll grab a stylus tool, or you could use a bone folder too, but I'm going to bring in the stylus tool and I'm going to bring in our Stampin' Pierce mat. This is the one I don't pierce into. The stylus tool can be found on the Take Your Pick tool. So on your Take Your Pick tool, this is an extra attachment that you can add. So I have 2 Take Your Pick tools, but you can interchange this extra piece on the end here. And this is the stylus end, and then you've got the pokey and the spatula end, the pokey. So we can use either stylus end. There's a large and a small. So we're just going to grab that, and we're going to use a ruler or a straight edge. We're going to connect where the end of this score line went to here with this corner. So you just lay your stylus right in that spot and draw it down to this point here. And we'll do the same in the opposite direction. So from here, that same part to this corner. And now what you've got here is your pinched side. This is where the side is going to pinch in to help close the box. So then we do that over here, the same thing. And there you have your two spots that will be the sides of the box. We need to grab our scissors now, and we're going to cut into the lower portion of the box. This is the lower half. This is the part that's going to close up the bottom. And you actually have different options here. You could use a scissors, a short one or a longer one. The longer one is what I would prefer if you're going to cut straight cuts like that. Or you can position this back into your trimmer and you can trim, line it back up and trim up to those marks, because then you get nice straight cuts. This one didn't get cut straight down the middle, so I have to cut it again. But you want to just have some straight cuts. You can angle cut if you want to. It depends on the look that you want down the bottom. So I'm just going to follow the score lines and cut straight up. And then we're going to cut off this extra little section. This way, when we fold our box together, the edges will come right to the edge. Now, again, if that's something that you worry about having overlap or something, you can certainly miter or cut in a little deeper. You could do that too, just to get some extra edges off. Let's bring in that tear and tape adhesive again. And we're going to put a line of that adhesive right close to this score line on this extra little 1/2 inch section. Then we're going to flip it over. And we're going to ignore putting adhesive on this third one. So 1, 2, 3. This one here is not going to get any adhesive, but the other ones are. So we're going to put tear and tape adhesive on this piece, right close to the edge. And on the other two pieces, close to the edge and also through the middle. So what I'm doing right now is I'm pressing with my bone folder against all of the taped areas so that it burnishes or presses the adhesive into the cardstock. Now we're going to use our bone folder to add crisp score lines. And I'm not using my bone folder along this top score line or along these. I just want them to be movable. So let's go ahead and move this side over and this side over, and we're going to connect them. We're keeping it flat and we're connecting like this, and then we're going to press it this direction. Make sure it goes in both directions. So this little place where the seam is going to be towards the back of the box. So if this is towards the back, then this smooth area is going to be the front of our box. So that one is going to get flapped over last, and these two are going to get flapped over first. So these are the sides. These are connected to the areas where it's scored diagonally. So this one here does not have any adhesive on it. That means it's going to come in first, and this one's going to go over the top of it. Line everything up, and as long as you've cut straight lines on your sections, when we were cutting straight in, it's going to be a lot easier to line everything up. And again, where's that seam? It is right here. So this is the front of our box. Remembering the front of our box, that will get pressed over last. So this one will come forward first. And that one gets pressed over last. Again, this is the front of our box. When we pinch it shut, we've got a little area where we can close it because we've got a 1/2 inch little lip here. You can use any kind of clip. You could use a paper clip, you could use a clasp like this, you could staple it shut, you could pierce some holes in there and tie some ribbon through. Now let's decorate the front of our box. I'm going to grab this gold distressed paper and we're going to cut it just under 2 inches. So 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. We're also going to cut this down, so we're going to cut where the score line is. There's a score line in here. And this measures a little over 1 1/4. So we're going to bring it to the 1 1/4 inch mark. And cut. And then we're going to turn it and do another 1 1/4 inch cut in this direction. So we're making another square. This piece here is going to get added. Remember I told you to save this? This is our tiny little decorative strip. So we're just going to put some Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue on the back side. And I'm just using one of the applicators that I have transferred my glue to. It's a precision tip applicator. You can find that in my favorite things on my blog. And we're going to go ahead and add this. I suppose I didn't have to glue all along the whole thing. We're going to add it right here where we can see lots of the gold embellishing. So we're going to press that down, making sure it's straight on there. And then let's go ahead and trim. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp on this. So we have the just for, and then we also have a stamp in the kit that says, "You make me." So we're using these two images there, and we're just going to use the word you. So like we did before, we're going to omit when we stamp. Inking up just the word you, stamping that close to and towards the bottom. And then we can add dimensionals on the back side. In the meantime, I actually cut out, when the video had stopped, I cut out an extra gold distressed square. So I have two of those now, one for the front and one for the back. We're going to peel off the release paper here. Adding these two panels with seal. And again, let's look for the back, because we want to make sure that the seam is towards the back of our box. So this is the back because there's the seam. This is the front, and this is where we'll add our just for you, sorry. You could put, oh gosh, candy of course in there. You could put gold jewelry in there. You could put a special note in there. Lots of different things fit in small boxes. I hope you enjoyed these fun ideas. A big special thank you to Carol Lucas, who sent me this Christmas card a few years back that gave me the idea for the Fun Fold. Thank you for watching. It builds creativity to think outside the box. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can catch more paper pumpkin videos that I've shared using past kits and more that I'll share with future kits. Also, be sure to visit my website at stampyourartout.com so that you can view close-up photos of these projects, see photos of other paper pumpkin kit ideas, and see many other great ideas that I share using Stampin' Up! Products. If you're watching my video on YouTube, look for links in my description below. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.